Stephen Stainer was only 7 when he was kidnapped, but his eventual escape 7 years later would bring his family so much joy. That is until his older brother Carrie began fulfilling his own dark and twisted fantasies. Different paths, and one being captured by evil, and the other becoming the evil nature and evil itself. The Stainer story begins with Delbert and Kay Stainer. They'd always planned on having a really big family, and that's exactly what they got. 5 was the perfect number for Del and Kay, and as the brood grew older, they noticed just how different each child is from the other. They lived on a picture-perfect street in Merced, California, and the children would play with all the neighborhood kids, like everything was fine, but things would soon change. So when Stephen was 7, he was only in the 2nd grade. He knew his first name and basic details about his family, but for the most part, he was just a kid enjoying the simple pleasures of his everyday life. His family, all his teachers, they would always talk about, Stephen is so helpful, Stephen is great. And the only thing he ever wanted to do was really help the people around him. People were saying that Stephen also trusted people a little too easily. And sadly, it was these pure-hearted characteristics that would later on get him in trouble. So on December 4th, 1972, Kay was supposed to pick up Stephen from school. But something happened, something just a personal matter. She got delayed. And while she was on her way to pick something up for Del, and she got to the school a little bit late, she kind of panicked. Stephen was nowhere to be found. So Kay didn't get too hyped, but she went home. She's like, let's see what happens. And he wasn't there. And then hours passed and they began getting a little more worried. The kids would often stay out late playing with other neighborhood kids. It's just normal, it's the 70s. By the way, it's not the way it is today. It was a completely different time. Kay figured that Stephen was probably out riding his bike, maybe walking home from school. She just really wasn't so concerned. But as evening fell, they began to panic and they called the police. And a search party was immediately launched for Stephen. And investigators started examining the route Stephen would have taken to get home. To get to his house, he would have had to cross Yosemite Parkway, which was an access road to Yosemite National Park. Everybody started wondering, maybe he got lost in the park or maybe someone had taken him. The possibilities were really endless. At this time, there wasn't CCTV, and if Stephen had gotten lost in the park, rescuers would have been forced to search over 1,187 square miles or 758 acres of land. Sure, Stephen wouldn't have gotten far in only one day, but there were so many hiking trails and hidden areas that it would have been easy for him to get lost and maybe slip and fall.